Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Yeah, all right now. You heard me. Take us along with you. And right now, we are on radio. We can see. So you're next to your computer. Turn us on there as well. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. The date for Memorial Day is May the 30th, but it has been celebrated this whole past weekend. And there has been some interesting information on various stations. And I happened to watch one. I'll tell you about it in a moment. But I just want to say happy Monday to those of you in the community who tune in to us who are part of Hood Research. And happy Monday to Jackie and Sister Fedora and Miss Farmer and to Charlene and Derek and to Carl. We're still waiting for you, Carl. Yeah. Happy Monday to Ron and to Michael, Tony, and it's just so many of you. Thabiti?
Yes, I want to give a shout out to Jackie. I saw you walking back home today as we were coming to the station, so a special shout out to you, sister. Hope you made it back in all right and are checking us out. Want to say I'm waving my flag now here just to show you. Les Little, shout out to you, brother, because you helped me appreciate the fact that even though we are still dealing with subjugation, this is our nation as well. We built the history of it. So I have to wave the flag, and not only for that, but shout out to my great uncle, Alfonso, and my uncle, Melvin, both deceased, but both veterans, one of World War II, the other of the Korean War. So I respect and love you, brothers. And then just, as I always tell you, all have your pen and paper handy. And also contact friends, relatives, neighbors, acquaintances, co-workers. And the call-in numbers here, if you got that pen and paper handy, we'll repeat it later, are 313-365-7327. 365-7327 or 365-7379. Again, 365-7379. Holler at us.
All right. And and a shout out to the Detachment 158, the veterans over at their center on Joy Road. That's 13721 Joy Road, just west of Schaefer. And they have a fundraiser every Friday where they sell dinners, fish dinners, chicken dinners, and they invite you to come help support them. The other issue that I wanted to share is from the History Channel. And the BD, I happened to channel surf and turn on to the History Channel, and they were talking about the original Black Panthers.
Mm.
The original Black Panthers were military men. They were the tank battalion, I guess you say battalion. But they fought in Germany, along with the Red Tails, of course, But they fought in Germany, and they drove the tanks, and they were actually the reason that helped Italy and France and other countries beat the Germans and beat them back. And they were, of course, as here, mistreated. Racism was still rearing its ugly head. But there was a particular soldier that was mentioned in the documentary, and his name was Reuben Rivers. And he was a hard fighter. And during the fight, he was hit by some projectile, and it cut him all the way to the bone of his leg. They wanted to take him to the military hospital that was out there. He says, "No, I'm not going." And he just continued to fight, and support his comrades, on the field. And they talked about thousands of Germans that were captured by the black soldiers. But you don't hear any of that talked about these days. And after that particular war, World War II, was over, it took over 30 years for the men of valor who had earned the Medal of Honor to even receive acknowledgement. But I was appreciative that that had actually been shown on the History Channel.
I want to add, since you said that, because it reminded me of something my grandfather said when he was in Europe, how when he was there, that the Caucasian troops told the women in France that black men had tails like monkeys. That's one story that he shared with me as a youth, that, some things stick in your mind. So, yeah, racism, as you say, was always present. And I guess on top of that, the German, let's say, captives during that time were treated better than the African American troops that were there fighting,
Yes.
sacrificing their life. They all sit in the mess hall together, because Caucasian, whether you're German or American, but us, that separate little mess hall. So just want to throw that in there too, because
That's right.
some of it still exists.
Absolutely. And to finish that information as you were sharing, there are many here who heard that. I heard it also from my uncle, and he said that further, the women over there, when they got an opportunity to be around a black soldier, they would ask him to pull his pants down because they had been told they had tails, and the women wanted to see if it was true. So, and now you know,
Stereotypes.
and now you know the rest of the story. Yeah, just all kinds of hatred. One soldier came back. This was in another documentary that had been on. There were a few of them over the weekend that did actually talk about the black soldiers. And this particular one had come home, and he was going from one state to another to visit his family, grandmother, and etc. He was on the bus, and the bus driver started this argument with him. And the next town stopped, got out, and called the police. And the police came and dragged him off the bus and beat him and blinded his eyes. But that's the kind of hatred. But everybody needs to know and understand and know this is a fact. Black history is American history. Whether you like it or not, black history is American history. And we have a guest with us this morning, right, Davidi?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful guest.
Uh-huh.
Very well seasoned behind the microphone.
Uh-huh.
And for those of you who only think of melanin as the pigmentation of our skin, boy, we got some stuff for you. It is a molecule. It's, as I understand it, even at this point, it's still hard for scientists to actually break it down, organic chemists and such, to break it down to understand its peculiar nature and how it functions and how it affects our body. But I'm going to turn this over to our guest, Tahira Ahmed, and then I will just continue to join her and Theo in conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Good.
Happy, well, not happy, but reverence to our people who gave their lives, some willingly and some unwillingly, to the cause of fighting for this country that had enslaved us, African people, black people, to work for America in many ways. And one of them was to send us off to war to fight their wars in political battles and those that were not so political. One of the people I'd like to give a shout out to is our great brother, Charles Richard Drew. Charles Drew was the father of blood transfusions. Okay, black man Charles Drew, June 3rd, 1904, April 1st, 1950, was an American surgeon, educator, and pioneering medical researcher in blood transfusions. He discovered that plasma had a longer shelf life than blood and could be separated to be used in transfusions. Now, this brother here saved so many lives during World War II because of his information study and dedication to blood transfusions and the blood. And also, Charles Drew is the father of the blood plasma. You know, blood plasma is another form of blood. Also, I want to give a shout out to the first person that died in the American War for America's independence, Benjamin Banneker. He was the first one that died for America, a black man. Okay, we don't get any kind of props for that. African American naturalist, 1731, November 9th, 1731, October 19th, 1806. Excuse me, was an African American naturalist, mathematician, astronomer, almanac author, a landowner. He also worked as a surveyor and farmer. Benjamin Banneker.
And Benjamin Banneker was the one who laid out Washington,
Washington, D.C.
Right.
Now,
A defense map.
this is American history, as you so properly stated, Brother Thabiti. This is America. This is not black history. It is black history, but it's American history. Let's stop separating it, America. Come on, you need to stop this racism stuff. He was born in Baltimore County, Maryland, to a free African American mother and father who had formerly been enslaved. Banneker had little or no formal education, and was largely self-taught. He became known for assisting Major Andrew Ellicott in the survey that established the original borders of the District of Columbia, which, by the way, has yet to be a state.
Oh, yeah.
Officially, as
Right.
what is that?
We know.
Been fighting over a long time, yes.
Yeah, we know it's all based on that melanin, but continue, sister.
Okay, now we're going to get into that melanin. See, that melanin helped Benjamin Banneker be the wonderful scientist that he was, okay, and do the work that he does, because there's something about blackness and space, okay? Now, the people who are racist against black people, you need to know one thing. Space is black, okay? Everything came from what is known as the black dot. If you don't have melanin, you're not existing. So every existence on the planet is because we're black. It goes right back to blackness. And then, there's more information being discovered about melanin every day. But one of the things I want to highlight in the book called Roots of Soul, when we were doing radio in our Detroit Public School System's radio station before it was stolen,
Oh, yes.
as do the researchers on eye color, this scientist, Edelstein, believes melanin to be the factor that accounts for black athletic superiority. I didn't say that, he said it, okay? I'm not saying black people are superior. He is saying, Edelstein is saying that it attributes to the black athletic superiority, particularly in sports requiring the athlete to react instantaneously to situations that are continuously and rapidly changing. Edelstein is also convinced that melanin within its resilient polymer not only activates starter impulses for physical quickness and mental keenness, but actually extends the natural life of human cells. And when they did an experiment, Edelstein and others did an experiment with black mice and white mice, they found that black mice lived twice as long as white mice. But when deleterious effects were introduced to the black mice, like bad diet, stress, and all of that, the black mice, well, white mice and black mice live the same amount of time. So the stress, bad diet, and other things keep us from performing our melanin, from helping us perform life longevity. And so they're doing these kind of experiments, but how does that affect us today? Well, we know that stress and harm is put on the black man in more ways than white people and other people. We are put through more stress. Our men are locked up in prisons for the smallest things, that in terms of crime. They're not really criminals. They call us criminals, but we're not criminals. It's depicted in the media that every time you hear something about black people, they're showing pictures of black men in handcuffs doing a perp walk, as they put it. They're always trying to associate crime with black people. And poverty, we're not a poverty-stricken people. We came from Africa, and don't forget, Egypt is in Africa. The highest civilization in American history, one of the highest, but if not the highest, because the Greeks came there to learn Greek philosophy, came to Africa, came to Egypt, and learned Greek philosophy, okay? And in the excellent book, Stolen Legacy, by George G.M. James, he shows how the Greeks themselves admitted, we got all this from Egypt, all this philosophy.
Herodotus, Plato, Aristotle, and when Alexander the Greek, not Alexander the Great, mind you, Alexander the Greek.
We call him Alexander the Macedonian.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
He's not Alexander the Great. He's the Alexander the
And he gave the Library of Alexandria, I believe it was to his teacher, I believe it was Socrates. But the big three, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, all were students along with Herodotus. And Hippocrates, the so-called father of medicine, learned from the Egyptian priests. A lot of history that they won't teach because, of course, it diminishes what they've given and it exalts what we've given. But as the sister said, we don't say that we're superior. Biology says that in itself. And one thing I want to add to that as well is that when she mentioned the I guess let's say the athletic abilities, who is this? Jimmy Snyder, another Greek, okay, says something along the lines that we had quick twitch muscles, which made us react quicker. I think he lost
Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah, Jimmy the Greek. I think his last name was Snyder.
Oh, it was Snyder.
Yeah, and he made that comment, and he got lambasted by television for that because it had racial overtone. But the fact of the matter is, we do. He just didn't know how to properly put it. Because melanin is also considered a superconductor.
Yes.
Which means it doesn't deal with friction like other things would. So that's what causes our movements, our thoughts, our perception of color, our perception of sound. That's why on the scale of music, we hear deeper sounds, the more bass sounds, which is why bass drums and those type of things emanated in Africa more so than what we hear in classical music with the light strings, the violins, cellos, etc. So the superconduction is part of why. Not only that, we're gonna really take off on it, but black children. It's been we didn't do the study. Let's say the people who were professionals did the study that black children when they're born, They learn to crawl faster,
Yes.
move faster, to walk more quicker than any other group. We're not just singling out Caucasian. We just say anybody on the planet, we had that edge, but it's not an edge we asked for. It's an inherent thing that we were born with, and we still aren't able to appreciate it to its fullest. But that's because, as the sister said, and I'm going to let her continue, because of our diets, because of stress and everything, we can't actuate our full potential yet.
Right. Not yet, but we
Yet.
do it unconsciously.
Right.
It hasn't been, we do it and don't, it hasn't been enumerated. It hasn't been told to the public. We don't tell everybody that we can see things before it happens, or that we perceive things that other people don't. And here's a good experiment. Have you ever walked into a room of people and you have this vibe, but they just got through talking about me and said something about
Yeah.
me? Or you get this feeling, you say, oh man, I don't like the way that feels. I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to do that. That's melanin. That is your melanin working, telling you, giving you the perception of things that some people aren't able to perceive. And if you have melanin, you're able to perceive that. Psychologists Philip McGee, Wade Nobles, and other colleagues were among the first black scientists who advised, in agreement with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, a pioneer in melanin research, that melanin refines the central nervous system, and in so doing produces a highly sensitized sensory motor network. They conclude, as we have, that a positive correlation exists between the intensity of emotional arousal and the action upon the nervous system of enzymes which are born out of the process of melanin production and dispersion in the body. Emotional arousal, the basis of expressive behavior, looms then as a positive trait, giving melanin a clear behavioral influence. And when you spoke about the friction that doing energy, like running fast, black people have, because of melanin, have the ability to turn negative energy into positive energy. That's the superconductivity, because when you run real fast, you get negative energy because of going so fast. But the melanin has the ability as a superconductor to turn that negative energy back into positive energy. And one other thing that I really love about being melanic or having melanin is that if you're a musician, Dr. Richard King, who does a lot of work in melanin, has stated that melanin gives you the ability to take sound energy, or take light energy and turn it into sound energy, and take sound energy and turn it into light energy. So that is why we are so good at music and knowing the scales. And in ancient Egyptian philosophy, they stated that the backbone, they used that as the example of the chords, and how the chords in music is actually your backbone, the bones that make up your back. They use that in synchronicity in music. I hope I'm not being too technical, but
Well, hopefully this spurs people to
do more research.
do a lot more research, because, I would tell anyone, as I've heard other people say, don't trust what I say. Do the research yourself. I'm just giving you a map in order to find it. And one of the things that sort of come out of this as well is now you can study this for yourself again. Look up Austrian monk Gregor Mendel. He dealt with dominant and recessive genes. We found that brown eyes are dominant when you look at the planet, and blue eyes are recessive. He also found that people with color, I don't say people of color, I say people with color, there's a dominance of people with color as opposed to people without color. So when you look at all the ethnicities, racial groups on the planet, basically all have colors except for one group, which also has that melanin as well, but which manifests itself when they're out in the sun too long. Some will get a tan, some will get burnt, as a matter of fact, and need some SPF protection, and you have to have 30 at least. Now, I want to just give a personal anecdote. I remember working on a construction site, and I had a young apprentice working with me, and we were at a site that was just, let's say, starting from scratch. So there was nothing on the ground. He had to excavate and everything just to get started. But I remember the young man saying to me, as he sat with his upper part of his body exposed to the sun, he put his arm next to mine and said, "You know what, Thabiti, I'm almost as dark as you are." He said that proudly. And there was another Caucasian woman I work with who made it a point to stay out in the sun because she just did not like her pale skin. I've got nothing against anybody because I know good people with all different kind of skin tones who have treated me great. So there's no bias in this. This is just, as Tahira said, we're just dealing with scientific facts
Right.
that may be a little bit above what some people understand. One other thing I want to add quickly is, like when you're ill, a lot of times your white blood cells come to the rescue when you have an infection. But if you look at your urine, it's darker during this time of your illness because also that melanin comes to aid those white blood cells to get rid of whatever the virus, whatever the bacteria, germ, etc. is. So that's melanin. When you see the darker urine, that's actually melanin that came to assist the white blood cells to help you slowly recover your health.
Yeah, and you want to also make sure you drink a lot of water when you're ill because water to us is very important to our melanin.
Right.
It enriches it, and it has. And when you mention the black skin, because of melanin is more adaptive to sunlight, the sun's energy, than white skin. But the advantages of melanin extend far beyond the prevention of skin cancer. And now they're telling us to put this SPF stuff. Oh yeah, you people with darker pigments, you need sunscreen too. No, you don't. You have it already. Melanin is already in your skin. That protects you in and of itself.
Tahira, I have a question.
Before that question comes,
go
my
ahead.
dear Theo,
Oh,
the bottom of the hour has
Oh
come.
my
That's
goodness. This is really great. And we want to get back to it as quickly as possible. In the meantime, refresh your orange juice, your coffee, your milk, and call someone and tell them to turn on. If they're at their computer, they can do Radio We Can See. And we'll be back momentarily.
I survived a red light runner, but will you? You know, Michigan has had 1,123 auto accident deaths a year. That's 21 per week. We know Detroit alone has 156 deaths, and that equals 3 a week. Those stats do not include the 550 people that are crippled and disabled a month. At 12 noon, September 18th, 2024, people in Detroit and other cities in Michigan will meet in Lansing, state capital, and complain about red light running, drag racing, and hallucinated driving. Yes, bring your lawn chairs. September 18th, Detroit and all Michigan cities will ask legislatures to enforce and enact laws that will stop drag racing and red light running and hallucinated driving. You know, this is not different than the Flint water crisis. People are dying. Join us Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. If you like, call 586-918-3061 for more information. Drag racing, red light running, hallucinated driving, it must stop. Stand up, September 18th. Call and share your input. Call 586-918-3061 or call 701-301-3118. Also, again, people of all nationalities, express your input and ideas at 6-918-3061 or 701-301-3118 to stop drag racing, red light running, and hallucinated driving. Thank you, and God bless everybody. Thank you.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Womack.
Wally Womack here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BD Impinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. And take us along with you. And we are back with our guest this morning, Tamira Ahmed, and all of the pertinent and important information about melanin is being discussed for your benefit. Now, I was holding this question until after the break, and I'm wondering about the water that we drink, the urgent necessity of water for all human beings, or all life actually. However, the water in residential areas, shall we say, has many chemicals in it. Now, does that damage melanin a lot, a little bit, or not at all?
It does. All those adverse chemicals does damage your melanin, your cells. You need to make sure you drink purified water. I drink alkaline ionized water because I worked with Dr. Kiefer Lorraine Weatherspoon, rest her soul. I was her assistant over at Sankofa and at the water station on Woodward between 6 and 7 Mile Road. And we would have classes. there that talked about the water and how efficient it is for it. It keeps you looking younger. She looked so young. She
Right.
she is a producer,
Oh,
a
yes.
radio producer here. She looked like she was a teenager. But it's the
Beautiful skin,
water. It was the
everything, yeah.
water. Uh-huh. Yeah, so yes, to your answer, yes, Queen Theo, that is most important, the water and the cleanliness of the water, purification of the water. You need to drink pure water, black people, and if you anybody else, you need to have pure water.
Right.
I
Not tap water.
no, they leave that tap water alone. It'll tap. So I'm a for our audience, I'm gonna just simplify what melanin is. Melanin is a substance in your body that produces hair, eye, and skin pigmentation. The more melanin you produce, the darker your eyes, hair, and skin will be. The amount of melanin in your body depends on a few different factors, including genetics and how much sun exposure your ancestral population had. So when you mention the eye color, Brother Thabiti, brown eyes help the athletes be able to see things quickly, because you pick it up with black eyes, brown eyes. And that's why they can react so quickly to a fluid situation when, you're doing sports. That ball is coming at you from different angles. And we have a peripheral vision that we can see things past the straight ahead visual. You can see things coming from the side of you, and the browner and darker your eyes are, the more you pick up. The more light energy you pick up, and that's how black athletes are more efficient at those changing situations.
And I want to add something to the part about the eyes. This also goes with Gregor Mendel, the Austrian monk's studies, that when we see a red. When others see a red, particularly Caucasians, but others as well, they see a lighter or faded red. So whatever colors we see them in a deeper tone because of the melanin than other ethnics or ethnicities or racial groups. It's the same thing with sound, which again I had mentioned earlier. We are more prone to the deeper tones, the basses, although we cover that full spectrum of sound waves, but we tend more towards the deeper sounds. And you would notice, they say don't call them aboriginal, so I won't. Let's just say people who are native to other parts of the world also involve themselves in, let's say, drums or those type of things, as opposed to something high-pitched that you find in a Mozart concert, for instance. One last thing I'm going to add, and we're going to keep going back and forth, because this is one. There's a book by Dr. Layla Africa. He recently passed away. It was called African Holistic Health, but I've heard many of his lectures and recorded them as well. And he says that when we deal with the ancients, our ancestors, I mean really the ancients, because of melanin, they were able to gauge the gravitational pull of the earth. Now, when you think about it, our people, because there's no lights, right? There's no electricity, so we studied the stars.
Yes.
We were able to plot the movement of the stars, Orion, Bell, and so many other things, because that's what we had the time to do. I mean, because they were in pitch darkness. So we're able to do that. So, and able to gauge, again, the gravitational pull of the earth. This is all part of melanin, but again, when you dilute it, you dilute its effectiveness as well. Now, I've got to say this last thing. I'm going to turn it back over to the sister.
No, keep going.
When you see green in plants, that's chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the equivalent of melanin, but it's in the plant world.
Right.
And I'll turn it back over to the sister.
Right, because chlorophyll to plants is like melanin to black people. And what's great about melanin for black people is that the more that you have, the more effective these things that we're talking about are to you. And one of the studies that Dr. Carol Barnes did is how melanin is produced by us on our pineal gland. And so where these 2 points meet, if you want to know where your pineal gland is, that the middle of your forehead and your temple, if your fingers were to keep going and where it crosses at, that's where your pineal gland is, in the mid part of your brain. And it's called the substantia nigra. Dr. Carol Barnes does a wonderful job explaining how the pineal gland works in terms of producing melatonin. Black people are people who can produce melatonin effectively from our pineal gland, and even the ancient Egyptians depicted the pineal gland, or the third eye, as they put it, and with a snake. You see the uraeus on a lot of the different crowns that the ancient Egyptians had. All of that knowledge is there in ancient Egypt. Our ancestors studied it. And you mentioned, Brother Thabiti, about how we were able to map the stars. Ancient Egyptians, our people, our black people, mapped the stars. And one of the other interesting factors about us mapping the stars, we would be able to see Sirius, Sirius A and Sirius B. We were able to see that, and the ancient Dogon people who live to this very day have a ritual that they do about the dog star, which is Sirius. And they do a dance that depicts the orbit of Sirius B around Sirius. Isn't that amazing? And they didn't have any telescopes.
Absolutely.
And so there were 2 scientists, Dieterlein, and another French scientist, traveled to where the Dogon people are in Africa and asked them, how did you see Sirius? We got telescopes and we're just discovering. How did you see this? How do you know about this? See, our ancient, we are so old on this planet, we've had time to look at stuff like that,
Yes.
study it, right, Thabiti?
Yes, definitely. And you know what's interesting about that is because there are some, if you go to YouTube, because I've done that too, there are still some Dogon teachers who are youthful at this point, but they came up in the Dogon culture, so they help to explain a lot of the, how can I put it, they're able to explain a lot of the phenomena and some of the ceremonies that Sister Tahira said that are going on. So this goes on to this very day. It's you know, it also allows us, which a lot of people aren't familiar with, it allows us basically to be able to get into a super spiritual state as well, because of the melanin, the pineal gland. And just a quick side, there's something called tamarind. It's basically eaten in Latin America and Mexican countries. But tamarind, you can find it at different fruit stores, helps to decalcify your pineal gland, because calcification comes as a result of having fluoride. Now, we know that there's fluoride in the water. We know there's fluoride in toothpaste, et cetera, et cetera. There's a fluoride in a lot of things. This helps to, fluoride itself causes our pineal gland to calcify, which means it's not going to function at its fullest potential. So if you eat tamarind, it's one of the things that I know of, but I'm sure there's many other that help to decalcify the pineal gland, which allows you to be able to function on a higher level. Another footnote I got to add is that how can I put this? You know, there's so much to this. Melanin is affected by every form of energy: sound, heat, light, ultraviolet rays, gamma rays. It's affected by all of that. They call it the third eye because it's able to perceive these things, and it's not a visual sight like we think of. It's a deeper sight, which is why they call it the third eye. And it helps us to function. Again, when you look at our music, I'll just use that as the only example for now. When you look at our music dominates the world. From way back, you know, you can look at Thelonious Monk, you can look at Satchmo, you can look at Ella Fitzgerald. The world embraces our music, but when you think about it, are we embracing the music of South America, of India, of China, or Europe. No, ours dominates.
Yes.
So at every stage of music development, we have already been the foundation. Everything else is just an offshoot or an offspring of that.
But we're the oldest people on the planet. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
that's
over a million years old.
Yes.
The oldest European or Caucasian remains in Europe is like 6,000 years, or maybe a slightly little more. But we black people, the oldest remains on the planet are in Africa, South Central Africa. And they're at least over a million years old. So people, look that up. Get your pencil if
Right.
they're ready. Now, also spirituals, the blues, gospels, sermons, and dance, to name a few forms, all have served as survival vehicles for blacks. Upon careful study of their texts, I'm reading it from the book Roots of Soul. Upon study of their texts, in many instances, survival messages can be detected. The spirituals have many examples. A popular one, sinner, please don't let this harvest pass and die and lose your soul at last. As a non-religious mess, at last. I know you can sing that, Theo. My love, you know that.
Has come along.
Sing it to us, Theo. Sing it. Because when we sing, and your voice is so beautiful. Go ahead, sing that song for
Oh,
us.
honey. My lonely days are over. No. Keep
Oh,
going.
it was all ready for it. Go ahead, Theo.
The groove.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and what we do when we hear that music, it ignites something within us. The spirituals and gospels were used to be able to tell us messages on where to go when we are escaping enslavement. We use those that music and sound to soothe us when we were going through horrific things in our lives, and you can imagine in enslavement, our children sold off by the enslaver. We were beaten to death from
Yes.
inches of our lives. Remember when Roots came on? We
Yes.
saw that show Roots.
Right.
You could feel the power of that show. We could relate to the feelings of that mother and child being separated.
Right.
That's melanin.
Right.
Being able to transform one scientific behavior and phenomenon to yourselves. And they also say that our cells have genetic memory.
Yes.
You learned about the resistance and how strong they really were and how determined they really were. And the determination also, it lets you understand about all of the creativity. And this past Monday, I just had the gentleman, Anthony Brockton, on, who currently is writing books about the good black history. We've heard a lot about the painful black history and the fear that had to be subdued so that the escape could be carried on. And you talk about music and the signals were in the music that was hung and sung from one side of the plantation to the other. And that's interesting because the people talk, and you hear people in a room, but when people sing, you can hear it throughout the whole house and outside sometime. That's how the voices carry, and the strength of melanin that helped them to survive is a part of American history.
Now, here's a little side note as well. I've heard this before, and it's no doubt in my mind. They say if you put 5 black youth, and let's say 5 youth of any other ethnicity or race together, that you will notice that they will imitate us, but we don't imitate them. So if we were in a room, let's say, for instance, with 5 Caucasian young men and 5 black young men, they would start to imitate our ways. Now, when you think about this, when we talk about soul music, now soul, I guess I would say is another term I would use for melanin, because soul has a much more deeper impact on the spirit of an individual than, let's just say, classical music or anything of that sort. So we talk about soul food, we talk about soul music, and
Yeah.
all of that is from a deeper part of our original nature. Of course, we've gotten away from it. Too many of us, I believe, have become Americanized, so we don't really have an understanding of what our true roots are. But there are many who are sort of revisiting. What do they call it? Sankofa?
Yes,
Yes,
go back
Sankofa.
and fetch it.
Yeah, we're going back to what was, because we see what isn't working.
And that's why we need to go back and fetch our music from these white executives who has taken over our music. And we're in, remember rap, we were the first part of rap, it was the Sugar Hill Gang and Melly Mel and them, Don't Push Me, 'cause I'm close to the edge.
edge.
Right.
I'm trying
Those were
not to lose my head.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under,
And
right?
melanin
Right,
keep you from going under.
Right, right.
But you know, those were messages, just like we use music and messages to help us learn where the Underground Railroad stop was, or how to fight racism and slavery. That we need to Sankofa that and go back and fetch it. Get back to our music, because our soul music sang about love. I love that soul music, Mama Theo, when the brother was singing, like the Manhattans and them was singing. Remember, we going to the concert talking about, sing that to me. You know, like we the only
Amen.
one in there.
Right, right. or the Platters. Think about the kind of songs. And you know, when we had that kind of music, the music that sang about togetherness, the music that sang about love, the music that sang about doing good and positive things.
And we need to go back and fetch that. 'Cause
Absolutely.
they got songs, so-called songs now in rap that's talking about hating women and
Yes.
beating women. And so that kind
And
of
killing
music.
people.
And killing people, shooting them dead, and the gangster rap and all that stuff. That wasn't us. That's promoted by a alien culture. That's
Right.
not our culture. And
And-
when we were having that kind of music, weren't we a happy and loving, more loving people?
Absolutely. And the kind of music that you were just describing is causing our people to turn into something that they're not, something they were not. And it brainwashes. It just does.
Yeah.
And makes people think, well, this is the way I'm supposed to be. This is the way I'm supposed to act. And so they start now going down a block, shooting into homes, little children who had nothing to do with any issues are getting killed.
Yes, little kids
And-
now. That never
right.
happened before, you
Right.
know.
And suicide was not known in our community the way it is
Correct.
today. And then also brother against brother was, as a matter of fact, was just announced about 2 or 3 days ago. One was 28 years old, the other one was 30 years old. They started arguing and arguing, and
yeah.
the only way for it to be resolved, unfortunately, in the mind of one brother, was to get a gun and shoot his own blood brother.
And it was
Yeah,
over a
killed them,
pet.
too.
What?
Is that what it was?
Yes,
Over
it was
what?
Over a pet, yes.
Oh, wow.
We've got to get
I ain't
back
heard
to
about
what our
that.
roots of using our melodic inventions like music. That's our invention. We invented that. We've got to, and we invented it to use it to help us, not to destroy us. We use that music, like we said, for reasons of being powerful. We're going to take our freedom. It's not we're going to wait on somebody to free us. No, we're going to take our freedom, and here it is. We're going to do the Underground Railroad. We're going to tell you, steal away. That's another song, gospel song, steal away. And we had codes within it to tell us where to go and how to get there.
Wade in the water.
Wade in the water.
Yeah,
Yeah, wade in the water. So we have to Sankofa, go back and fetch our melanin and the inventions that we created with melanin and use it to free us now, because now our children are going through a lot more.
And we are at the top of the hour.
Oh, come on.
How did that happen?
I don't know. It went faster than the first. Something is going on around here. However, we do have to pause for the cause and take a station identification break. We are here with Tahira Ahmed this morning, and we thank you so much for tuning in. Call somebody, tell them to tune in as well, and we'll be back momentarily.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV.
If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BD Impinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. And we have returned for the last segment of the show today. Oh my goodness. We have to hear Ahmed with us, and we have really been enjoying their presentation. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you so much for having me. We're having fun talking about melanin.
Absolutely.
You know, it's so much negativity surrounding black people in the Western media that we forget that we should be happy and enjoying the fact and celebrating the fact that we've got something nobody else has. Very few people have. We have melanin. We have black skin. It protects us from the ultraviolet rays that produces cancer, skin cancer. Now they're telling us to put this SPF stuff on. How about it's going to protect you from skin cancer? And Brother Thabiti, you said, well, how many black people got getting skin cancer? But the other thing is, my question is, if we take that stuff and put it on our skin, the skin our black skin reacts to the sunlight and it produces vitamin D.
Right.
Vitamin D is a natural production from your black skin and the sun shining on your skin. That's natural vitamin D, not some kind of pill form. And it's the best kind of vitamin D. And if we put this stuff on our skin, will that prevent us from producing vitamin D?
Okay.
That's what we need to be asking some of these Caucasian dermatologists trying to make black people put this stuff on us. Is it going to prevent us from producing vitamin D, which is essential for black people?
And as I was saying, we were speaking off air, that when you consider the people in Africa, particularly equatorial Africa, where the sun is more dominant than any other part, since the sun moves north to south, depending on the season, you don't hear of any high incidences of melanoma, basal carcinoma, UVA or UVB incidents happening there. And because certainly if it were, they would let it be known, because anything negative about us has to come out just to diminish, try to diminish, I should say, us. And only those who are naive will accept that. But again, to Hira's point, those in Africa don't need it. And if you put a film over something, you dilute whatever it is you would get, no matter what. It's just automatic.
That's common sense.
So we don't, worry about being, let's say, in the sunlight. And matter of fact, I try to walk 30 minutes every day. And when I'm out there in the sun, I'm doing like Dick Gregory told me. He said, swing your arms, walk with a brisk pace, breathe deep, and enjoy that sunshine, which is revitalizing the vitamin D in you. Now, there's an Indian guru, because they have a lot of our culture in them, too. When you look at the Buddha, you see the tightly curled hair. That's an African.
Right.
You know, one of the brothers who visited India, and a Caucasian lady who was doing the tour was saying, yeah, the Buddha got hot being in the sun, so some little small snails crawl up on his head, and that's where you get that little curly look at. Give me a break. He said he had to check her on the spot. Let her know, no. That's that African curly hair. Somebody want to call it kinky. Somebody want to call it nappy, but it's African curly hair. And that was made to help protect us against any radiation anyway, which is why we don't have that long, stringy hair, which Bwana, when he was in the jungles of Africa, so to speak, had to wear that pit helmet to keep the sun off of him, to keep him alive. So don't believe the hype. And I would just ask everybody, do research on your own. First, be curious. And then do research, because if you're not curious, you're not going to look into anything anyway.
And you should always be curious and want to celebrate your blackness. I know you see it in the media that, oh, black is bad. And you look at what it's in the dictionary definition. Look at black. Black is bad, evil, sorcery. Black is dangerous, ugly. They've done an experiment with children, and they had two dolls. They had a white doll and a black doll, and they took it and put it in front of the white children. They said, which doll is the bad doll? And she pointed to the black doll. Which doll is the good doll? And she pointed to the white doll. Well, they did the same experiment with the black child. Okay, which doll is the bad doll? And she pointed to the black doll. And they said, which doll is the good doll? And the black child pointed to the white doll. So racism is being taught to children who have nothing to do with it, don't know anything about it, but they learn it early.
A learned behavior. And subtle things make it difficult, throughout the life. Because it's something that goes on year after year after year. And I've spoken with young people in their 20s, 30s who don't seem to know what racism is. Because it's been with them all of their lives. And the parents and grandparents don't want to talk about the pain and agony of the history, thinking that they were doing good for their children, but they're not. And I guess it brings you to think about the Jewish community and the museums that they have throughout the country and the world, perhaps, to say never forget it and never again. And they work hard to make sure that their children know about their history and the pain and hate and torture that they went through.
And as a side note, their history is actually co-opted history of our history. When I say that, I was looking at some things yesterday, as a matter of fact, about the Ethiopian Jews, which had Christianity over 3,500 years ago. The oldest Bible, which is the Ethiopian Bible, is in Aksum, Ethiopia. It's protected 24/7 by Ethiopian priests. Another thing added to that is that and this was actually a white scholar who was saying this, he was giving an interview, so I have to take my hat off to all those who lean on truth as opposed to bias. He was saying that why is it that the Western version of Christianity is as tainted as it is? Because there's 88 books in the Ethiopian Bible, which is the original Bible, and there's only 66 in the King James Version. So what happened to the other 22? Well, they kept them out for a reason. Part of the reason is because they didn't want the knowledge that was there inherent. Even, I've got pictures, and I think many of you may know or have heard how Putin has said that the Madonna and the child are black. He actually brought this out about, I want to say 2 months ago now. And when I've got pictures of the current Pope with the one that preceded him praying it was filmed, praying to a black Madonna and child. Yeah, so Europe knows better than America. America really wasn't looked on, is still frowned upon by European nations. They consider us a little bit more savage. The British, like we're their bastard child, so to speak, And when they got rid of the people in England, they just emptied their jails and other places where they kept their worst people and sent them all here. Say, look, get rid of them, send them somewhere.
Right.
Well, the earliest depiction of goddess was goddess Isis. The reason why they chose a feminine principle is because she represented life. She gives life. She's the person who teaches the child. All comes from her. All human beings come from her. And Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanat, oh man, he is my greatest teacher of all. He woke me up. Okay, I was spiritually arousing and woke up. My Kundalini woke up, right?
Right.
I woke up because Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanan, a black Egyptologist who took thousands of black people to Egypt, to Kemet. He took us there, and we did a tour up and down the Nile, showing us the different temples that our ancestors built, to which different principles that we were learning about, such as one part of Egypt is the study of the stars, and astronomy, astrology, all of that comes from our ancient ancestors. People came from all over. Even they say that Moses studied in Egypt, Jesus studied in Egypt. All of these people studied in Kemet. Now, what had happened was the Macedonian Alexander, they call him Alexander the Great, but we call him Alexander the Macedonian. He took an army into Kemet. They blew the nose off the Sphinx. Now, the Sphinx is a huge statue in Egypt that depicts a man's head that's on top of a lion's body. And what I'm understanding that statue means is that we have an animalistic nature, but our mind is to overcome the animalistic nature, and our behavior is to overcome our animalistic behavior and our animalistic body. We want to use our mind to overcome those behaviors that are below us, such as fighting, rape, etc. There were 32 negative confessions, out of which the 10 Commandments come out of. But it was 32 of them. 42 negative confessions. So what were the other 32? We need to ask that. So religion comes from ancient Egypt, comes from our ancestors, and they found the bodies of the people, the remains of the people who built the Great Pyramid, and they're buried right along the side of the pyramid. So Hassas, I think, is the Arab anthropologist that took everybody there and said, these are black people that built the pyramids. It wasn't no white Jewish slaves that built the pyramids. It's black people.
And there's a large portrait of the Black Madonna and Child in Poland today. They don't try to
hide it.
But
the Pope, why don't he come out and tell everybody that he over here worshiping the Black Madonna and Child, and in all his churches he got a white Jesus? He need to explain that one.
Well, I'll say this. I talked to a black minister. I used to attend a Church of God in Christ. I didn't go there as a member. I went there as a visitor with other people. But when I asked this particular elder, because he got his own church after he separated from the original Church of God in Christ, he started his own church like many ministers do. And I asked him about the white Jesus. He said, I know that Yeshua, because I like to call him by his real name, not his Greek, whatever, Roman name. I said, he said, I know that he's black. However, if I were to put a picture of a black Yeshua or Jesus, as you call him, up, he says that I would lose most of my congregation because the brainwashing that we spoke about earlier is so deep that they can't accept anything but what they've been trained. And this is generationally. We've been dealing with this since our first step here when they had the missionaries, which they sent to Africa as well for the same purpose. If they didn't do it here, then when they sent missionaries to Africa, they sent them there. Like they say, they gave us the Bible and they took the land.
Right.
Right,
How it worked out.
that's right. They said that they, when the missionaries came, we had, they had the Bible, and we had, what was it that, we had the, I know people, I can hear them now out there in TV land. We had the Bible, and we taught them how, and they had the land. They taught us to close our eyes and pray. And when we opened our eyes, they had the land and we had the Bible. Okay? They used religion to colonize us. And this is a fake religion. Excuse me, I hate to say that. I love you all. Everybody have their religion. I'm not saying nothing against your religion. But this was, and the Africans considered that a fake religion because you are having us worship something that is not within our culture. We created religion and they didn't, this is not our culture. And then one thing you want to keep in mind, we're talking about Jesus or Yeshua, there was no J in the Hebrew language. So if he was, he would not be Jesus. He would be Jesus or Yeshua, or it would be a Y sound. It would not be a J. That's a European invention. So I don't want to make y'all mad, but to do the research.
It's the truth.
But they also need to read up about the Crusades. They make the Crusades sound like it was something so honorable, and they would ride in on the beautiful horses, and they'd have their uniforms on and crosses on the front of the the armor that they had, right? However, when they came in, you were either going to be Christian or dead. They ask you.
Yeah, they
Are
was
you Christian? If the answer was yes, fine. If the answer was no, they
Say
say
goodbye.
off with your head, Right. But that was the Crusades. But the way the Crusades are taught in history is to make you think
It
what
was
they
noble.
were doing was yes,
It was
yes,
a noble crusade.
wonderful and an honor to do that, and that's why it's throughout the world
If
today.
you take a look at all native people on the planet, wherever they are, the Native American here referred to the Great Spirit. They learned to live with the land. Matter of fact, they consider the land just an extension of themselves and a living part of themselves. This is also true in South America and particularly in Africa, where the climate, because these are in the temperate zone, some of them are in the tropical zone as well, they learn to interact and respect nature. I saw a documentary, and there's a lot of wonderful things you can catch on PBS. I would say just go to their site and then pick the ones that relate to you. But one of the things they said is how when the Europeans started moving west, how he slaughtered millions of buffalo, which was what Native Americans used to sustain themselves. They made their teepees out of the hide, but they
Right.
never killed as a result of sports so they could have a trophy on the wall.
Right.
It was always with an
A need.
understanding. And they also gave, I guess I use the term grace, but they also gave praise to the Creator for providing these things for them. And this is true, as I say, throughout all native cultures. Now, the European, it's not his fault, but him being up there in Europe where the winters were harsh, he was forced to do things he didn't want to do. So eating raw meat, as you know, some of people will say, I won't mind with the blood running from
Yeah.
it. Well, that's because that's, as you said,
Rare.
in the DNA, the genetics, it's in the DNA to taste this blood. It's just something they get used to. So I'm just saying that people who are native in definitely temperate and tropical or more so tropical regions learned to interact with nature. They gave praise to nature. So, and we've gotten so far away from that now. That's why the slaughter of animals for capitalistic purposes, whether it's cows, pigs, chickens, etc., which also pollute the body as well because of all the growth hormones and the antibiotics they put in there. That's why people, I think, in my opinion, are a little bit more insane in their behavior because they get all these chemicals in them. If you were eating pure, I've even had people say to me, you know what, these are elderly people I'm saying. They say, you know, the bananas and how don't taste like the bananas when I came up. Well, I know why, because they put some stuff in there that wasn't in there before.
Yeah, you know what, one of the things that is important about how we are using these, I think you guys went to the idea that the Black Madonna and Child is what the Pope reveres. He's over there in the Vatican praying to the Black Madonna and Child. Well, why aren't you having your flock, so to speak, pray to a Black Madonna and Child? What is the significance of that? That is the beginning of religion. Is from us, black people. We're the first people on the planet, as I said earlier. And the ancient Egyptian religion was a complex system of polytheistic principles. They were principles. They weren't praying to different gods. They were acknowledging different principles of life or aspects of God. So they are still was monotheistic, but they recognize certain parts of God. And so in the religion of the Egyptian religion, we get funerals, we get the practice of funerals, we get the practice of Ma'at, which is law, justice, the order of the cosmos, to repel Isfet, which was chaos. The state dedicated enormous resources to religious rituals, to the construction of temples. So when we went up and down the Nile, we went to these different temples that depicted different rituals or different aspects of God. And if you get a chance, please go to Egypt. If you can, go and see for yourself. And they couldn't say, once you get to Egypt, they can't say that it's located in the Middle East, because if you're flying over there, you're not going to see the Middle East. You're going to see Kemet on Africa. And we flew into the daylight, from darkness into daylight to get to Africa. It was so amazing. I'm waking people up. I'm like, look, y'all, look, we flying into the sunlight. They're like, leave me alone. I'm trying to go to sleep.
And I have to say that there's a brother, Ashraf Kwesi, who does 2 tours every year to Egypt. I'll be on the next one
you will? You going?
In August of next year, because I couldn't make everything work. My sister was going to go with me this year, both of my sisters, as a matter of fact. But Ashraf Kwesi does 2 tours, and he's a student of Dr. Ben Yosef Ben Yakinen, who was his mentor and teacher. So they do that every year in August. I will make sure that I provide that information for you. It's a 2-week trip, which, as Sister Tira said, they also go down the Nile. It's a 3-day trip down the Nile. Abu Simbel, many of our ancient, because the Nile actually runs from south to north, where most rivers run from north to south. But that just shows you the deepness of it. So when they say Upper Nile, they're actually speaking about the lower part of it, and not the and the lower Nile is in the upper part where you would find the Sphinx and the Giza Plateau, etc.
Wow. Yeah, some of the brothers that went on the trip climbed the Great Pyramid. I wanted to go with them, but I started that first part. No, I said, no, I'm going to just stay right down here, watch y'all do it. But the Great Pyramid, the first part of it, those layers, I mean, it's like steps. It's granite, and it's big blocks that the ancient Egyptians, Kemites is the proper name. We never called ourselves Egyptian. That's a Greek name that they changed it to, okay? And they people killed me changing our names, but Kemet, it means the black stone. It was depicted as a black stone in the so-called hieroglyphics, but the true name of the hieroglyphics is Medu Neter. But I just wanted to say the 42 negative confessions, out of which came the 10 Commandments. See, all of this religion that we talk about now came from the Egyptian religion, our ancestors' religion, and it was 42 negative confessions, also known as the Declaration of Innocence, are a set of 42 sins that a deceased soul recites in the presence of the gods or the principles to prove their innocence and purity in the afterlife. And the confessions are made before each of the 42 principles and goddesses of the nomes, a territorial division of Egypt. And the sins listed vary from text to text. So you ought to look up the 42 negative confessions, because you only get 10 now. So you want to know what the other 32 were. And you want to, and it is, I have not killed, I have not lied, I have not, and it goes on.
Right.
I hate to bring this up. We
Oh,
got
don't
like
tell me.
4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. So I know we want to acknowledge Hood Research's information, because we know you want to come back for more, and we're going to give you the what you need to know to get in touch with us. And I'll turn that over to Queen Theo.
Absolutely. Well, as I say at the end of the program, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research spend a lot of time seeking out information to share with you, and those who have information to come as our guests to share with you. And we encourage you to share as well. So, it's Hood Research that's been around since 1992. And we would like for you to write down, as Sabiti says, have pen and paper handy, so that the email will be on your fingertips. And the email for Hood Research is contact@hoodresearch.org. Again, that's CONTACT, the little at symbol, the A with the circle around it. Then HOODRESEARCH.org. That's contact@hoodresearch.org. Don't add the dot. Anyway, we have a website. We have a membership, which is $20 a year, or a lifetime membership is $300. We have a phone number. The number is area code 248-234-2371. Again, that's area code 248-234-2371. We ask you to follow us on Twitter, which is X now, Twitter X. And we have a Facebook page. And we're streaming. And we do as much as we can fit in a day. And every day, we seek out more and more to share with you. The BD.
And as I always say at the end of every program, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you finish. So get busy.
All right.
Get busy.
And thank you so much, Tahir Ahmed, for being with us this Monday. And we look forward to you coming again.
Thank you for inviting me. It's always an honor. I love you. I love your program, and I love your audience.
Thank you so much. All right. Until next Monday, think about joining us on the Saturday. The numbers, when you call or on the voicemail or on the Facebook page, we have a conference call on Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Conference call with Hood Research. And stay tuned, because we have a program coming up on June the 29th. We'll tell you more about it as we go along. Now, peace.
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 Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BD Pinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback.